mubyeyi urifuza guteganyiriza umwana wawe ejo heza, gana mu mashuri ya apejerwa ariyo Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI hamwe na Emeru Intwari. Muri Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI tubafitiye amashami akurikira: Culinary Art cyangwa se ibijyanye n'ubutetsi, hari level 1, level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Food and Beverage Services tubafitiye level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Tubafitiye kandi Accounting cyangwa se ibaruramari level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Tubafitiye n'ubukanishi bw'amamodoka mu byiciro bikurikira: Auto Engine Technology level 3, Auto Transmission and Control System Technology level 4, Automobile Transmission and Control System Technology level 5. Tubafitiye n'ubwubatsi Masonry level ya 3, level ya 4 ndetse na level ya 5. Tubafitiye Tourism ubukerarugendo level ya 3, iya 4 ndetse n'iya 5. Turabibutsa ko tubafitiye n'icyiciro rusange Tonkome. Naho muri Emeru Intwari tubafitiye amashami y'umwaka umwe akurikira: Automotive Technology ubukanishi bw'amamodoka level ya mbere, Hairdressing ubwiza no gutunganya umusatsi level ya mbere, Tailoring ubudozi level ya mbere, Masonry ubwubatsi level ya mbere. Muri aya mashuri yombi tubafitiye abarimu b'inzobere harimo n'abaturuka hanze y'igihugu. Tubafitiye kandi n'amacumbi y'abakobwa ndetse n'ay'abahungu. Abanyeshuri bacu bakora ingendo shuri mu gihugu ndetse no hanze yacu. Tubaha umwanya wo kwimenyereza umwuga mu bigo bijyanye n'ibyo biga. Dukorera kandi graduation abanyeshuri basoje amasomo yabo. Aya mashuri aherereye mu mujyi wa Ruhango hafi ya gare. Ku bindi bisobanuro mwaduhamagara kuri 0788 cyangwa se 0722 mwanaduhamagara kandi kuri 0788 cyangwa se 0788 mwanadusura kuri website y'ishuri www.apejerwa.ac.rw. umurimo ukozwe neza utuma batugirira icyizere.
Good morning. My name is Rwagasana Germain, a trainer from Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI. As it is usual, I'm from the sector of construction, subsector masonry. The module we are going to share is about concrete technology. The topic for today is now calculating the quantities of concrete technology. So before entering to intended topic of today, let's first try to see some terminologies, some previous session, so that we get more about this topic. Now, as objectives of the course, by the end of the session, a trainer or a runner should be able to identify the types of concrete required, the different properties selection of concrete ingredients, to know the appropriate selection, tools and equipments, by the end to calculate the quantities of concrete ingredients. So let's start by properties of concrete. The properties of concrete, it is found in two states. It is found in plastic states and hardened hardened states. There in plastic state, what do we see? In plastic states, is where we found workability, and what we call, what is it really workability? Let's first know what is it workability. Workability, it is the ability of the concrete which makes easy to use. Of course, the second one is what we call breathing. What is it breathing? It is the ability of the concrete. It is like a default which appear at the top of the concrete where the water are raising up at the top of concrete is what we call breathing. So let's try to see again in hardened state, in hardened states. In hardened state, what can we see? We are going to see in plastic states is where we found strength as properties of concrete. Strength, it is the ability of concrete to resist to apply the load. You may say something is strength as long as it resists to apply the load. Then it is what we call durability. What is it, durability? Durability also is a property of a material of resisting a long time. That's what we call durability. Then after that, let's try to see what we call the types of concrete. Really, the types of concrete are many, but let us discuss about those fourth one. It is what we call plain concrete. This plain concrete, it is the concrete without reinforcement. Also, we are using it, especially in cement pavements. Anyway, in plastering, simple as that. Also, reinforced concrete. What we are mostly called it RCC, reinforced cement concrete. Also, it is the concrete with reinforcement inside. You know, the difference between plain concrete and reinforced concrete, it is only inserting in the labors or reinforcement inside. That's the difference between. Now, let's go to what we call a pre-stressed concrete. Pre-stressed concrete. What is it, a pre-stressed concrete? A pre-stressed concrete, it is for this word, you understand the word stress. What is it really stress? Huh? We are in the construction, we are counting stress in terms of applied load. So since it is pre-stressed concrete, to mean that we stress the steel bars inside before. Why do we stress the reinforcement before making this concrete, this pre-stressed concrete? Why do we pre-stress them? We are pre-stress them in order to check whether our concrete is fulfilling the requirement, of course, to know if you have checked something before, and the things that you are going to do without checking, to mean that it is a bit different. What you are going to do, automatically you are sure that it will resist to what I'm going to do. That's why we are preferring this pre-stressed concrete. It is more used for the high structures such as bridges and pipe. So let's go on the major ingredient of concrete. The major ingredient concrete. The major ingredient concrete. The first one is what we call binding material. Binding material is where we are seeing cements, limes, etc. Because those are more we are using here in Rwanda. We are using lime, cement, simple as that, and sometimes polymer. So the second concrete ingredient is what we call the fine aggregates. when do we see, or when do we say that some concrete is fine, or I mean some aggregates is fine? It is said to be the aggregate is fine aggregate since it is less or equal to 4.75 grain. To mean this size is determined by sieve analysis where we are in grading. What is it really grading also? Grading, it is the way of classifying aggregate according to what? According to the size. Because there is many classification. You may classify aggregate without considering the size. But what we call a grading, it is the way of classifying aggregate according to what? According to the size. So this coarse aggregate also is determined by sieve analysis, where we are classifying them according to the size. Simple as that. Another ingredient of concrete is water. You know, without water you can't mix. You can't mix intimately your concrete ingredients. Also, the water plays a great role just in making concrete. Remember that is where we can see the maximum hydration in the concrete. To mean that without water we can't find the maximum hydration. And we know the concrete may also be hard in the presence of water. You know, to mean that the water plays a great role in the concrete. Then it is other concrete ingredient called admixtures. Admixtures. What is it really, admixtures? It is the chemical substance that we are adding in the concrete just to improve the quality of concrete. It is to improve the quality of concrete because it is just to you improve according to what you want. If you want just to change the color, of course you add the colored admixtures. If you want the strength, of course you add air and training admixtures. It is types of admixtures. Types of admixtures. Let's try to see some among them. Types of admixtures, it is what we call air and training admixtures. Air and training admixtures. These types of admixtures, for example, is used just to remove the air inside the concrete. That's the law of these admixtures. It is what we call accelerator admixtures. Accelerator admixtures. This accelerator admixtures, it is used just to accelerate the setting time of concrete. What is it really a setting time? It is said to be setting time, just it is the way of, it is said to be setting where the concrete is start losing the amount of water inside. Is what we call setting of concrete. Then let's go to the why do we use these admixtures in the concrete? I have said that is just to improve the quality of concrete with respect to what you want. Then let's go to the proportion of ingredients. Proportion. Proportion of concrete. Proportion of concrete. you know, for example, it is sometime you see on the site by saying we are going to mix the concrete together by using this ratio, this mix ratio. For example, like this. What does it mean, this one? It means this one, it is cement. 1 bag of cement. 1 bag of cement. Whether this one is what we call fine aggregate. Whether this one is what we call coarse aggregate. Coarse aggregates. Then, why this cement, of course, to bind them together, as we have seen previously, by saying this is classified into what? Into the binding material. This fine, of course, to fill the hollow inside the aggregates. Whether this one, this coarse aggregate, of course, to provide the desired volume of concrete. Now, let's go on the different mix proportion. The mix proportion, of course, these are here on the projector. 1, and where it is used. This one, the first one is used. 1, 2, it is used for the foundation, for the footing, for the steel column and the concrete, the structure underwater. For example, dams and viaducts. Then, water tank, we are using 1, 3 for the common reinforcement concrete. It is 1, 2. For this one, I have written here. Then, for the piers, abutment, concrete wall, seals, windows, and floor, we are using 1, 3, 6. 1, 3, 6. Those are a different mix proportion we are using mostly in the concrete. Now, the use of reinforced concrete. Of course, you know, the concrete is often used in a different area of construction, where you're using it to make a footing, to make foundation, to make underwater structures, simple as that. Then, let's go to the properties of ordinary Portland cements. The Portland cements, it is chemical properties. The chemical properties, those are what we call tricalcium silicates, which is written like that. It is mixed in the concrete 40%. The calcium silicates also is used for the ratio of 30%, where tricalcium aluminum is used 11%. Then tricalcium aluminum also is used 11%. Now, let's go to the process of manufacturing cements. The process of manufacturing cement, it is done in 2 processes. Which one? Process of manufacturing cement. It is done in 2 processes. Wet process and dry process. This wet process, what is it really? It is done in the wet process is where we see limestone here, for example, what we call a clay here and water at this side is what we call wet process. Then this produce what we call slurry. Slurry is what? Is a mixture of those two things, those three things, limestone, clay, and water. This slurry produce what we call clinker, and produce what we call gypsum. At the end, you get a cement. Those are the process. The wet process is wet for what? Is wet because it is adding this amount of water. That's the difference. Then for this one, the dry is where we see limestone and also clay. Then produce what we call like mills. Then after that is clinker. Then after that gypsum. At the end we get cement here. So the difference between these two processes is only here adding amount of water. Here it is no water. That's why we are saying this is wet, this is dry, this is dry. Those are a simple process of making cement. I have said about the mixtures, the types, those are there, and the reason, the major reason for using the mixtures to produce, of course, to reduce the cost of concrete, then to achieve the certain property, as I have said, that it is just to increase the properties of concrete. It depends on to what you want. Then to maintain the quality of concrete, of course, with respect to what you want. Then in the previous session, I've talked about the concrete operations. The concrete operations, selection materials. I have said about batching, a process of measuring concrete ingredient. Mixing, of course, is now combining together in timbrometry so that you get the things which is homogeneously. Then transportation, and the transportation also is removing the mixed concrete to the working place, also handling and placing, taking the concrete already used to pour to where should be used. Then compaction also is removing the air inside the concrete, removing the void inside the concrete, and curing, just maintaining the internal moisture of concrete to prevent a rapid hardening. Then curing method. Also, we have talked about spraying water, covering the surface with wet gel bags, and ponding, steaming curing, and the application of curing compounds. Then what is it this way? Spraying amount of water. You know, once we are spraying, it is now watering the wall after applying plastering. After applying plastering on the wall. Of course, we are spraying amount of water. To mean spraying, it is now watering the plaster after 1 day of application it. Then covering with wet gel bag. Of course, you see at the site after constructing, after making the columns, of course, you surround them with a wet gel bags. Then ponding. Let's go to the calculation of concrete ingredients. Our intended topic of today. Let's try to analyze this one so that we get more about. Now, At the projectile is the question, calculate the materials required for the following structures. To mean you are going to construct a given structures. So to know the quantities of material you need, of course, is what you are going to see. So we have the RCC with a mixed ratio of 1:4 for a cubic for 20 cubic meter. And the RCC with the mixed ratio of 1:36 for a 15 cubic meter. Then, it is two things you have to know before analyzing these structures, let's say. We know the 1 bag of cement weight weight 50 kilogram. We know in the 1 bags. It is accustomed. Then, and what we are going to know, 1 cubic meter of weight cement produce 1.52 cubic meter of dry cement. It is like that. Then the specific weight of cement is 1,440 kilogram per cubic meter. Before, let's know this one. Then let's try to analyze this one. Let's make a summation of ratio. Of ratio is where we see we have the it is for A. We have 1 plus 2 plus 4. What do we find? It is 7. It is 7 parts. Why do we say parts? Because it is many things you are adding. We are adding together. Then, after that, let's see the quantity of cement to be used in order to get 20 cubic meter. Quantity of cement. This one is quantity, of course, you know. Is taking that 20 cubic meter times 1. I have said previously that this one in the ratio is what? Is cement, of course, you remember. Then times this one. Why this one? It is this one of cement, as I have said previously. Then times 1.52 cubic meter. Then over 7. What do we see? Here, for example, what do we find? We are going to see around, let's use a calculator to find them. It is 1.52 times 20 times 1, then divide 7. As a summation of what? As a summation, this 7 is summation of the ratio. We have already added that 1, 2, 4. Then what do we see? We are going to see it is around 4.3, 4 is what? Of course, sorry a bit. Because the cement is not found in a cubic meter, it's found in a kilogram. As we know, the bags are a weight in 50 kilograms. Times what? Times 1,440 kilogram. Then, what do we see? Times 20, then times 1,440, divide 7. We find around 6.2. Simple as that. One dot 52 times 20, then times 140 equal to this one. Divide 7. We find 6. It is 253 kilograms. So by converting them in order to find the number of bags, is taking those kilograms, number of bags, is taking those kilograms 6,253 kilograms divided by 50 kilograms. Now we cancel those kilograms. We find it is divide by 50. We find out that is 25 bags. Those are the number of bags you want in order to make the bags of what? Of cement. Those are what we want in order to make 20 cubic meter of concrete. Then let's see the quantity of what? The quantity of fine aggregate. Quantity of fine aggregate. Fine aggregate. Now, is taking 20 times 20 this cubic meter times 2 then divide 7. What do we see? It is a cubic meter here. It is 40 It is 5.7 what? Cubic meter, because we are measuring the fine aggregates in cubic meter, of course, because you have the cars which may be weight this cubic meter. Then let's try to see the quantity of coarse aggregate. What we are going to see is this 20 as a desired quantity of concrete do we need times 4/7. What do we see? It is It is 20 times 4 divided by 7 equal to what? Equal to 11. Equal to 11.4 cubic meter. So what do we, this one, to mean it is the coarse aggregate. In the concrete we know, of course, coarse aggregate should be more compared to what? Compared to the fine. It is what we call, is said to be concrete since this coarse aggregate is more. So, let us continue to see them in practice a short time. I would like to register my sincere thanks to those who have just followed me in this session. Let's go to the practice to see more about. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We were in theory there. Now today we are to perform what you have said in theory. Now, as I told you in theory, I have said that the first step is selecting concrete ingredient. The concrete ingredient, those are this one. Those are the fine aggregates. Whether this one, this is the coarse aggregates. Then this is our binder. So once you are making them together is when you found the concrete. So the first step is selection the materials. We have already selected them. Those are this one. We are going to take them as I told you. Then you put them in the concrete mixer there. Then after mixing them, let's put this binder to combine them together. But it is not done randomly. It is not done randomly because it is first calculated. Then, after that, you add the amount of water. After adding amount of water, then you check whether your machine is in service. First, we check whether the oil is in a good condition. After checking it, then you on your This is the concrete prepared right now. So it is some law of mixing concrete. Once your concrete once the liquid is much, to mean that at the site this mistake is done, mostly it is the default of concrete. Since it is much water, to mean that the workers are reducing your strength of your concrete. Since it is much water, it is the problem at the site. But since it is balanced, it is very good. But once also it is the concrete is more hard. Is more hard to mean that it isn't enough water. Also they are increasing strength, but workability low. You know, the law of mixing mixing concrete. So to mean that once you are mixing the concrete at the site, of course you're trying your hard in order to get the concrete which is balanced, which is more plastic. That's why we are dealing with workability. You remember at the in the classroom in the theory. So the concrete found right now is this one. What I would like to explain is about the law of mixing concrete. So allow me to stop the by here, and let's register my sincere thanks to those who have followed this session. Thank you very much.
Mubyeyi urifuza guteganyiriza umwana wawe ejo heza, gana mu mashuri ya apejerwa ariyo Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI hamwe na Emeru Intwari. Muri Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI tubafitiye amashami akurikira: Culinary Art cyangwa se ibijyanye n'ubutetsi, hari level 1, level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Food and Beverage Services tubafitiye level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Tubafitiye kandi Accounting cyangwa se ibaruramari level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Tubafitiye n'ubukanishi bw'amamodoka mu byiciro bikurikira: Auto Engine Technology level 3, Auto Transmission and Control System Technology level 4, Automobile Transmission and Control System Technology level 5. Tubafitiye n'ubwubatsi Masonry level ya 3, level ya 4 ndetse na level ya 5. Tubafitiye Tourism ubukerarugendo level ya 3, iya 4 ndetse n'iya 5. Turabibutsa ko tubafitiye n'icyiciro rusange Tonkome. Naho muri Emeru Intwari tubafitiye amashami y'umwaka umwe akurikira: Automotive Technology ubukanishi bw'amamodoka level ya mbere, Hairdressing ubwiza no gutunganya umusatsi level ya mbere, Tailoring ubudozi level ya mbere, Masonry ubwubatsi level ya mbere. Muri aya mashuri yombi tubafitiye abarimu b'inzobere harimo n'abaturuka hanze y'igihugu. Tubafitiye kandi n'amacumbi y'abakobwa ndetse n'ay'abahungu. Abanyeshuri bacu bakora ingendo shuri mu gihugu ndetse no hanze yacyo. Tubaha umwanya wo kwimenyereza umwuga mu bigo bijyanye n'ibyo biga. Dukorera kandi graduation abanyeshuri basoje amasomo yabo. Aya mashuri aherereye mu mujyi wa Ruhango hafi ya gare. Ku bindi bisobanuro mwaduhamagara kuri 0788362219 cyangwa se 0722356668. Mwanaduhamagara kandi kuri 0788362213 cyangwa se 0788202282. Mwanadusura kuri website y'ishuri www.apejerwa.ac.rw. Umurimo ukozwe neza utuma batugirira icyizere.